Have you ever wondered what role and effect you have on the world around you? We are all organisms in our environment. Our energy and characteristics affect our environment.
There are also factors that affect our environment that we can't control. These are called abiotic factors. Things like temperature and sunlight are abiotic or non-living factors. On the other hand, biotic factors are living factors.
Depending on the factors, energy flows through an ecosystem. Energy is moved throughout the trophic levels. Energy comes from the sun and goes to the producers, who pass it on to the herbivores, then the secondary consumers, then the tertiary, and so on.
For example, the sun sends energy to grass. The grass is eaten by a cow. The cow is eaten by a coyote, and the coyote is eaten by a bear.
Bye, coyote. In this story, grass is the autotroph. Autotrophs get their energy from photosynthesis and inorganic chemical reactions. Grass is a producer and makes up the first level of the trophic structure.
The cow, coyote, and bear are heterotrophs because they get energy second, third, or fourth hand from other members of the food web. They are also called consumers because they depend on producers for energy and nutrients.
There are different kinds of consumers. Herbivores are primary consumers because they get their energy directly from the sun. Carnivores that eat herbivores are secondary because they get their energy secondhand from the herbivores. Carnivores that eat other carnivores are tertiary consumers because they get their energy third hand.
Decomposers are also present throughout the levels of the trophic structure. They consume organic waste and dead organisms from all the levels.
Two laws that apply to this flow of energy are the first and second laws of thermodynamics. The first law states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. The second says that total energy is constant. This means that energy can't just disappear from a food web or the world.
There are many different types of relationships between animals in the food web and ecosystems. Four main relationships in a community are predation, mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism.
Predation is the name for the relationship between predator and prey. For example, predation happens between a mouse, the prey, and an owl, the predator. Mutualism is a relationship in which both organisms are benefited.
Parasitism is a relationship where one organism invades the host, who is usually greatly affected. Commensalism is a relationship in which one organism benefits and the other is unaffected.
Animals in a community occupy a niche. A niche is a particular combination of resources that a species is adapted to.
Animals also have a fundamental and a realized niche. The fundamental niche is where the animal could live. The realized niche is where they do live after competition.
Two species cannot occupy the same niche for long, called competitive exclusion. Also, resource partitioning can occur when each species only uses part of the available resources. This reduces competition amongst species.
Populations of different species can occur in different ways, called population dynamics. The two main growth models are called exponential growth and logistic growth.
Exponential growth is when the population size is equal to 2 to the power of n, but populations rarely grow this way. Logistic growth is when a population in a new environment grows exponentially for some time, but slow to linear growth as it reaches a carrying capacity.
The graph shows how the population density, or the number of individuals per unit of land or water area, grows. Richness and abundance can be used to describe the organisms of an environment. Richness is the number of different species, while abundance is the amount of each species.
The properties of a population size, which depend on birth rate, death rate, immigration and emigration, density, which depends on the amount of space, and dispersion patterns, which are random, cluster, and even or uniform. Random is when the animals are dispersed randomly throughout the ecosystem. Cluster is when they are placed in clusters around resources. Even or uniform is when competition has spread animals equally, separating them into their own territories.
Lastly, to bring the whole unit together, the world is broken down into 8 biomes. These are then split into ecosystems which are areas of land with the interactions we previously discussed. The ecosystems have communities, with organisms in the same specific area. These organisms are grouped into populations, or all the species in an area. Lastly, a single species is the organisms that are able to naturally breed with each other.